Hi, I'm Cynthia Murphy.
And I'm Georgia Bowers.
And this is Delete My Browser History, a minisode.
And today we have the lovely Kat Ellis with us. And
Hello.
Kat, hello. Sorry,
Hi.
I had a sudden panic. Do you know what that was? I had a sudden panic. I'd called you the wrong name. Because Cynthia was making fun of me because I can never remember my name, and then I just got in a bit of a pickle. So sorry about that.
I'm leaving all of this.
Kat has shared with us 3 facts about herself, which we've already shared online, hopefully. So she's now going to read them out to you, and one of them is not true. So over to you, Kat.
Okay, I will straighten my face, straighten my voice. I once played a murder victim in a film. I collect glass eyes. I can move my ears individually.
What do you think, Cynthia?
I think the glass eyes one has got to be
frozen
true.
again. Oh, you're both frozen.
Oh no.
Yeah. Are we having a bit of a technical issue?
I don't know.
I thought I just shocked you into silence.
Yeah. Definitely see you collecting glass eyes, and I'm sure you won't be offended by me saying that. I think you'd make, this is difficult because I think you'd make an excellent murder victim as well in a film.
Thank you.
And I can move my ears, but I can't do it individually. I don't know if that is really, I don't know, but that I'm gonna go for the ear moving. I don't think that one's true. Catherine Foxfield was just telling us about how to fake your own death.
You know, I watched a film with kind of that plot line to it. It was about frogging. Did Catherine talk about that when she was talking about faking your own death?
No, but is that where
frogging with a PH?
you live in someone else's house?
Yeah, so you're like living in the walls or in the attic and just sort of sneaking out when everybody's in bed.
Oh,
So, yeah,
That is horrible.
that's how to do it.
that's like, do you remember The People Under the Stairs? That film?
Yes.
With him, what was he called? Newt or something? Newt? No, that's Alien.
I don't know. Luke loves that film. We've got it somewhere.
Yeah, so clever with the candles at the end and the coins. Love that. There was a thing recently as well where this child was like, I think there's somebody watching me every night, and they were like, don't be silly, monsters don't exist. And it turned out there was somebody living in the walls watching.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I think it's something that is one of those things that always seemed kind of plausible when you were a kid, that somebody might be living inside the walls. You know, you hear these sort of rustlings and creakings at night and you're like, oh yeah, that's definitely somebody living in there.
Yeah. And did you ever get that feeling where you were like, there was something in your house or there was something coming to get you while you're in your bed? And because I remember being absolutely convinced once something was coming through my window, but I just absolutely froze in my bed. Like, I didn't make a run for it or anything. I was just like, if I just remain in my bed, I will be safe. Which is probably not.
But that's the thing, isn't it? They say fight, flight, or freeze.
Fight or flight, yeah, freeze, yeah.
And I never heard the freeze bit before. Right, I think I'm back on.
Well, we've managed to discuss a few interesting little side
Right, let's go. Just let me know if it goes. So yes, I think that Kat definitely collects glass eyes.
Okay.
I don't know which one's fake. I think the glass eyes one is true because I've seen your weird arm on your bookshelf, which I'm a bit disappointed it's not there today.
Not that weirdo.
No, not your weird arm.
How rude.
The severed one that you like to, put on your books. I think the film one is not true. Just because I think big budget film, whereas you might mean like little book trailer film that you've done on your phone, but I don't know.
Well, that could maybe be something that Kat is aspiring to rather than something she's actually done.
Yeah, my next career.
We'll find out at the end anyway.
Yes.
Which ones?
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Kat, what are you going to tell us about today?
Well, I thought, what would these two like to hear about? And obviously the first thing that sprang to mind was leeches.
Oh,
So
of course,
I've prepared some delightful information for you on leeches. I should probably explain why I was actually Googling them. I write very creepy books for anybody who isn't familiar with them. And I tend to have kind of a recurring motif with each of my books. So for Harrow Lake, the recurring thing was teeth. And then in Wicked Little Deeds, the recurring thing was eyes. And then the one that I've just finished that I can't really say too much about, a recurring motif there is leeches. And it's something that I was kind of obsessed with a little bit when I was a kid, in a terrified sort of a way. You know, the way...
Is it because of Stand By Me?
Stand By Me.
I think that definitely contributed to it. I mean, there were quite a few Leech instances in films in the 80s that I seem to be watching. Like, do you remember Leech Woman in Puppet Master?
No.
This was like a terrible... It's a terrible, terrible film to have watched when I was about 5. I mean, it was definitely inappropriate for that age because there's like a lot of like dicey and dirty content. So yeah, the Leech Woman in that, I think she was this little tiny puppet shaped like a very attractive woman, but she would regurgitate leeches onto people when they were like tied to beds and things. And these leeches were, you know, they could suck your blood until you died, basically. So I was watching things like that, I think, as a kid, that kind of got me fascinated with them, and sort of had that feeling, you know, the same way that a lot of people did with quicksand growing up in the 80s, like absolutely certain I'm going to encounter quicksand at some point and I need to watch out for it. Well, I was the same with leeches. So I think that's probably why they've kind of resurfaced in my brain while I was working on this latest book. So yeah, I will tell you some interesting leech facts in case you haven't researched them as thoroughly as I have.
Please do.
So
no, I haven't.
They're delightful little creatures. They have a sucker at both ends. So the head end, where they will suck the blood out of you, and the bum end, which has the stronger sucker. So I thought that's quite nice.
They can suck blood from both ends?
No, but they do have a sucker on the bum end, just to attach
so it
to
can
you.
Suck itself on and then like...
Yeah, it's like a clamp to keep it in place.
Okay. They
can go up to 6 months between feeds. So, you know, they're not always an imminent threat. They're hermaphroditic, which means that they have both male and female sex organs, but they can't self-inseminate. But what leeches have been known to do is form a nice little chain of insemination.
Oh,
so
that sounds fun.
A nice little circle there.
Oh, like human centipede style.
Exactly.
Oh, no.
But less about the poo, more about you know, insemination.
Wow.
I was thinking more like bowls, keys in a bowl at the party.
Yeah, I'm sure leeches do that too. Leeches can be found on every continent of the world except for Antarctica. A bit too cold for them there, but you can find them throughout the world. They live in freshwater, salt water. You can even find them like in damp forests and humid climates, stuff like that. They don't need to live in water necessarily. And the biggest leech, which I'm sure you're dying to hear about, is the giant Amazonian leech. And that can grow up to 18 inches long.
Oh my God.
Just pause there for the delightful looks on your faces.
That's really big.
That is really big.
It is huge.
But how wide is it as well? Oh.
It's fairly girthy. It's like you'd struggle to like close your fist around it, I imagine.
I think this is going to need a content warning, you know.
I think so.
It is, and I haven't even gotten to the part that I'm going to issue a proper content warning for. There are between 700 and 1,000 species of leech. So, well, all of the ones that suck blood, and they don't all suck blood, but all of the ones that suck blood have teeth. And of those, quite a lot have a proboscis, so they can shoot out like a little straw that they use to suck your blood out with. So that's fun. I know that there are some variations between species as to like how many different organs and things that they have, but as a general rule, they can have up to 10 eyes. They have 32 brains, but they function as one because a leech breaks into like 32 segments, and a brain controls each segment, but they're sort of like a hive mind, if you will. They have 3 jaws, so they form like a nice Mercedes badge when they bite you. They have 2 hearts as a rule. And here's something I want you to guess. How many pairs of testicles does a leech have?
Oh, how many
17.
pairs?
How many pairs?
So is this a trick question? Is it not a pair? Is it just one?
No, it's definitely a pair. 9 pairs of testicles.
Wow.
Isn't that delightful?
Leeches. I'm a bit shocked into silence.
I know.
You asked me to come on and talk about
I did. I know. I'm
entirely your fault.
I'm trying to picture where all these balls are.
I think they're internal.
Oh, okay.
They don't wear them on the outside.
You couldn't see that. Cynthia was just doing a bit of a
like one on the shoulder, one on the
one on the shoulder,
around the neck like a feather boa.
Do your balls hang low? Yeah.
No, they don't, because they're internal.
Yeah.
I think I'm not absolutely positive about that, but I've just kind of assumed that they wouldn't really want them in the danger zone outside.
No.
Okay.
Bad design.
Leeches, they've been around in use in medicine since the time of the ancient Egyptians, and they believed that letting a leech suck your blood could help with all kinds of ailments, including reducing fever and getting rid of flatulence.
Oh,
helpful. It's gone in and out of style a bit in medicine using leeches, but it did reach kind of a high point of popularity between 1825 and 1850 in Europe, where the demand was so high at that time, they actually ran out of leeches that they could use for medicine. So,
I don't think there's much anymore about Victorian medicine that shocks me, because it just sounds about right, doesn't it? That is when they would be used the most.
Yeah.
I think Victorians would give anything a go, Leeches, why not? They're still actually used now, though, in medicine. There's a specialist facility that farms them down in South Wales, and they're most commonly used in plastic surgery, in reconstructive surgery, and other kinds of microsurgery as well, because they encourage blood flow in compromised tissue, so they make the blood flow again. And they have a natural anticoagulant and anaesthetic in their spit.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So they
now,
still use them?
They do, yeah. Still used now.
Again,
I'm now wondering if
shocked into silence.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, with all the surgery I've had, I'm wondering if like someone slapped a leech on and just never told me.
I know, you don't really want to ask to see notes, do you?
There's things I'd rather not know. Yeah.
You need to check those release forms, don't you? Okay, this is the part where if anybody is like mega squeamish about body horror involving leeches, just shut your ears for a second. But we're going to talk about leech infestation, and those little suckers can get everywhere. So for some examples of nasty leech infestations that have occurred recently, last year in Sydney, there was an unusually blustery rainstorm in the summer, and it swept leeches right across the city, and that led to a huge spike of people in city centres getting leech bites because they were just like clinging to buildings and just attaching themselves to people as they walked by, and yeah, they were just everywhere. And that was last year in Sydney. Also in Australia, there was an ex-army soldier hiking solo up Mount Bartle Frere in Queensland, and it was raining, but he didn't let that put him off. But he soon noticed that there were swarms of tiny leeches on his hands after he'd been using the trees to help him sort of get up the mountain paths. They were easy enough to swipe off, but by the time he made the return journey down the mountain, his right eye had begun to swell. And he realized that in wiping his hand over his face, he transferred several little leeches into his eye socket. Attached inside the eye.
Leeches on eyeballs.
You know what? I knew that's where that was going. I knew it. But also, it makes me wonder, would you rather fight off one giant leech or loads and loads of little ones? Because I think the little ones freak me out a bit more, that you wouldn't know if you'd got them all. And...
Yeah, I think I'd go for big leech.
Also, they're really adaptable. So if they get in you when they're tiny, they can grow inside you.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, letting one of those little tiny ones in, you're in for a world of trouble. Leeches will also happily feed from the inside of your nose, your mouth, urethra, and in some areas where people bathe in rivers and streams where leeches live, vaginal leech infestation can occur. Sometimes requiring surgery to remove them, because if they're left untreated, those leech infestations can kill you.
Oh, are you clenching? I'm clenching.
Yep. I haven't unclenched since I Googled this. So one final piece of lighter information I'm going to impart on you, which I know you're going to want to know, is how do you remove a leech if you find one on you in the wild and you haven't got medical help with you? So you want to get them off, because leeches can regurgitate toxins into you if you leave them to feed. I mean, it can be okay if you just let them finish the job and they fall off on their own, but best if you can get them off you quickly. And don't do what James Bond did in Octopussy. He used his lighter to get rid of a leech, because that also makes them puke up the toxins. So basic leech removal. You need to locate the head and the mouth. Now, the head is the skinnier end of the leech. They'll both be suckered onto you, but the skinnier end is the head. You need to pull the skin that they're attached to taut, then slide the edge of your fingernail between its mouth and the skin to flick it off before it can reattach itself anywhere.
Right.
And then you need to clean the wound and bandage it and get to a doctor's. So that's how to get rid of a leech.
How do you get rid of a leech if it's in your urethra?
I don't think
Definitely
you can
see
do
a
that doctor. Please do not insert a fingernail and try and flick it off.
No, just go straight to the hospital.
Yeah.
God.
If you find one in your urethra, definitely go to a hospital. I think they will see you quickly.
That was delightful.
Delightful and horrendous.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
I know. Do you know what? It's making me think. Do you know? Is it tapeworms that people used to get a lot in your stomach?
Yeah, there's a Grady Hendrix book, isn't there? In My Best Friend's Exorcism, and it's that old urban legend of people who would eat tapeworms to lose weight, and the girls just throwing up this massive. And
I read, so I remember, it might have been when I was at school, that if you went to the doctor and you had tapeworm, back in the day, probably in Victorian times, they just put you in a bed next to a bowl of fruit.
Yeah.
And it would just, the smell of the fruit or whatever, and you just have to wait for it to come up. Sorry?
Did that work?
They wait for you to... They eat what you eat, so you have to starve yourself for like a week and they die. But yeah, I think that used to be a thing where you would try and tempt them out with sugar.
Imagine just waiting for that to happen.
Oh God.
I don't know if that's worse than the vaginal leeches. I think the leeches are worse.
Yeah.
I don't want to pick.
It's a bit special.
I don't want to play that game.
I'm glad I've had my lunch.
I know.
But you're glad you invited me on.
So I can't wait to read this book now, because you said it's a a recurring theme in the book.
Is it still
Yes,
top
although
secret?
it is top secret, but I will say, for the sake of anybody who is dithering over whether they want to read it now, there are no vaginal leech infestations in the book.
Okay, I'll
I
say
always feel better when I know how to deal with something. So thank you for sharing how to remove a leech.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
agreed. We can solve the problem if we ever get in that situation. Because now I think I'm going to think about it a lot more than I ever did.
Yeah, I feel I should probably apologise.
Have you seen, is it Love and Monsters on Netflix? Yeah, because there was that great, it's got a brilliant scene which is kind of an homage to Stand By Me. But he lives in this world where all these creatures are kind of mutated, so everything is like, so the leeches are a bit bigger, aren't they? And it's lovely. What's his name? I can't remember his name. The Maze Runner guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
what's his name?
No, I don't know either. Dylan
O'Brien.
I was going to say Dylan Thomas.
I was going to say Dylan Thomas, and I was like,
yep. Did we get the name of the guy who lives in the walls in People Under the Stairs?
No.
Would you like to know?
Yeah, go on.
We were close. His name's Roach.
Roach, because cockroach.
Which it's kind of a theme for this podcast.
Bugs.
Gross things. Anyway, Kat, can you reveal to us which of your facts was a lie, please?
I can. The lie was that I collect glass eyes.
No! That was a good lie.
That was very smart.
A weird little.
I thought it was plausible because I've written about eyes so much in my last book, so I thought you would fall for that one, hook, line, and sinker.
Hook, line, and sinker.
We're not doing very well on this so far, are we?
No, that's 2 for 2 now that we've got wrong.
But yeah, I did once play a murder victim. It was in a short film that 2 students were making as part of their film college piece of project work. And I can move my ears individually.
You can. Can we see?
Can you show us?
You can. Hang on. If you can see them with my headphones in. So that's left.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. I can do mine trick, but at the same time. So maybe I just need to practice.
I can't.
You do. You should spend some time practicing moving your ears.
Okay. And can you tell us where we can, if we want to find out more about you and your books, where are you?
I am everywhere online. CatEllisWrites.com is my website, which has links to all my socials. I am Kat Ellis Writes on Instagram, and there's links to Twitter and all that sort of stuff. So yes, all my info is on there.
Yeah, we'll pop a link in the show notes to Kat's website, and she does a brilliant newsletter, so you can subscribe and find out every month. I've got to say, actually, when I got this one's, it took me about 2 days to get the title that it was a Britney Spears song, because what did it say? It's going to be
May.
Yeah, just so typically May. And I was like, I wonder why she didn't go with the NSYNC one. And literally 2 days later, I got the Britney in my head and I understood. So that one
it was like an anti-NSYNC statement.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it when I finally understood what it was. Right, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. And we'll see you next time. I apologise.
Should we do that bit again? I can cut that bit out.
Sorry.
It's all right. Just too eager this time.
No.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me
next time.
Georgia!
Sorry.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me on.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Sorry.
Oh, that was so
sorry.
Browser history deleted.